Hey sweet friends, I'm Kimberly Sminky of Lolly Doodle Studios. I'm a watercolor, acrylic, and lettering artist. Welcome in. We have a new challenge this week with a common canvas, painting with texture. This is hosted by Jeannie's Palette and little old me, Kim of Lolly Doodle Studios. So anyway, we have challenged one another to add some texture in our art today. Be sure to check out the entire playlist. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Please let me know if you have used any texture in your art recently or if you are just starting. It's been a long time since I've painted some angels. So I pulled out a canvas and I want to show you today how to paint this very easy little impasto angel with textured wings and dress. All you need to get started is some heavy gel medium. I'm using gloss, but you could use matte. I have a selection of well-used, as you can tell, palette knives and some different acrylic paints. I'm not brand specific. Just grab what you have. Instead of buying heavy body, I just used the gel medium to add texture. I had this little square canvas sitting around. It was like a mustard yellow. So I decided to give it a coat of this 24 karat gold here and put an angel on it. So let's get that done here. It's been a while since I have made any textured art, and I've been wanting to make a set of wings. So I've been looking at this gold canvas that I've had for quite a little while and figured let's make some wings on it. So I pulled out my gloss heavy gel. This is clear, so we do have to add paint to this. I'm not going to use heavy body paint. I'm going to use some purple. I have some white, a little tiny bit of this portrait pink, which I'm going to use for the flesh color. But I'm just going to make a very simple angel. And then I've got my, these are Artist Loft and some different brands palette knives. You can see this one is pretty well loved from the angels that I painted, gosh, years ago. So I just want to show you real quick the way I prep. So I'm just going to take my Liquidex, and any brand will work, the heavy gel medium. You see, I've, used, it's well used. It's been a while, but it's still good. So I'm just going to come in here and grab a good bit of this. Now, it looks white in the bottle, but it's not white. It's actually clear. So I'm going to put some here. I don't need a whole lot because my canvas is kind of small. And then I'm going to put, that's going to be a pile for the weight of the wings. And then I'm going to put a small pile over here. That will be for her dress. And I'm just going to put a little bit here off to the side for doing her head. And we'll get started. This does not take a long time. So I'm just going to take my, you can use any kind of white. I do have some thicker paint. When you add this to it, it will thin it down a bit, but it's still going to leave some texture. So I'm going to add my white paint. I'm actually just going to put it here on the side, of course. This really won't take long, especially doing this kind of like an abstract impasto angel. I think the wings look better the less you stress about them. So I'm adding some white paint there. I won't need all of that, a little bit of overkill. And then I'm going to just put a little bit of purple there for her dress. And we'll use just a little bit of portrait pink over here, the tiniest little bit for her face, because this is such a small canvas. So then I take this and I'll bring some of my paint over and I'm just going to mix that in, kind of like mixing color into icing. You just want to kind of work it back and forth, mix it in. Make sure you got some white paint in there because, like I said, this is translucent when it dries. So it does not dry white, it dries clear. So you want to add color to it or add this to your color. So I just don't want to add too much and make it really thin, but that should work just fine. So it looks like a little bit of frosting that we have there. I'm just going to scrape it off. I'm going to come over and just do the same thing here with my purple. And you'll see it's just going to mix in. Doesn't take much to get it mixed in. But this way, when it dries, it will have the color to it. Leave the texture. I'm just going to drag it off on the side. And we'll do the same here with the... So just kind of scrape it, push it back down, pull it back up, scrape it. Whatever you need to do to mix it in. I have a little bit of purple mixed in there, but that's fine. And then I'm just going to scrape that off on the edge. So I'll pull this here off to the side. And I'm using a very small canvas. You'll see here that I painted the shade of really pretty gold. Still not completely dry, but it will be just fine, right? So I'm going to, in my mind, imagine where I want, and this is not a realistic angel. This is just the impasto, like a very abstract sort of angel. So I'm envisioning her little head would be right about here, or maybe up a little bit higher. And her dress would just come down. And I want to do sort of like an elongated triangle for that. So I'm just using that, and the paint's wet. And this is just, I'm trying to eyeball sort of the center of the canvas, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Actually, I think I want to make her head end right here. Dress about there, right? So then her wings are going to come almost like a T. So I'm going to envision a T, and then a line across, and then two T's almost. So I'm going to do a T here and a T here, and you'll see. So I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to grab my palette knife, and I'm going to grab some of my paint. I don't need a whole lot, just a good bit of paint. And I'm going to use this, turn it over, and bring it down to the canvas. Let me move my water out of the way. And I'm just going to lay this here. Yes, I'm going to skip the part where I want her head. I'm just going to drop this, watch, and I'm just going to pull it lightly over. I want to have those skips. And I'm using the palette knife. It's not like this on the canvas. It's going to be more like straight, like you're buttering toast with or icing a cake. So I'm going to take that now, and I'm going to pull that down. And I'm just going to let those skips stay in there. You'll see it does the texture. It leaves the little skips. I can bring some more coming out because I want the wing to be out and sort of come in almost like a triangle. I can pull some of those out. I can use the side. But to get those skips, you really want to use just the flat of your palette knife on the canvas. And I'm just going to pull that down. Right? And it's okay if it goes to the edge of the page. You can then go in. You can smooth this out as much as you want. You can let it dry if you want more layers of texture on top of that. So if I were to step aside and let this dry, that's a lot. I could then come in with another layer. So I'm using that flat side, and I'm going to pull that out. And then I'm going to pull it down. I kind of want that a downward, upside down triangular shape. And like I said, to me, the rougher they look, the better. You don't want them to look perfect. I'm not going for each feather defined. I'm just going for the look and feel that these are an angel's wings. I can come in with the tip of that, and I can add some more defined texture, I can kind of make lines in it if I want to define where feathers would be or where I want a feather to be. But I want some coming out and then some coming down, right? And that's my background there for the wing. And then all I need to do, I could scrape this off if I could scrape this off, but if I don't want the white, which I don't right now, I'm gonna just wipe this off with a paper towel. You can have a wet paper towel, a cup of water here. And I'm gonna come in and I'm going to grab some of my flesh color, not a lot. You could even switch over to the smaller of the palette knives, but I'm just gonna use the one. And then I come in here and I remember I kind of wanted her head to be sort of right here. So I'm going to pull in. It's going to pick up some of the white from the wing that's not dry. You can always let things dry in layers, but I'm just impatient. So I'm going to put that there, and then I will come back in with a little bit more of my pink and just add a little bit of a layer on top to darken her face or her oval for her head, and she's good. Now to do her dress, I cleaned this off. I'm going to pick up some of my purple, and remember we want that sort of elongated triangle. So I'm going to start kind of right here under her head with a little dot. And then remember this, to get these skips and drags, keep your palette knife parallel to your canvas. Sorry, short on words there. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to just push that down and pull it. I'm going to pull it down. Then I'll just come back in and pull that down in that upside down triangular shape. Okay, you see how I'm getting the skips? I want some of that gold to shine through. I can come in and add some more. I can then pick up some of the white and come in and make a highlight in the dress. My hands are very shaky, so this is just proving that you do not have to be stressing. Just have fun with this and create. So I'm just going to add a couple little bit more pieces here for her dress. I can add what look like little arms. I can add shoulders, but I'm going to leave this very, very primitive. So I'm going to add a little bit more purple here, but I do want to pick up just a little bit more white. And I'm just going to pull some of that white down her dress. Okay. And I am going to wipe off my palette knife again. I like the primitive look of the bald angel. I love that. It's very non-discriminate. It could be you, it could be me, it's an angel. But you could take a little bit of this purple and a little bit of the petal pink and kind of mix that. More petal pink than purple. More of that flesh color than purple. And you can sort of mix that to get a darker tan or brown. If you did want to put like some hair, or if you would like to add a little bit of darker shading to her face. I'm going to leave her just as she is. Okay, then what I'm going to do is grab my small, if you don't have, you can use like a toothpick or use a stick or the end of a paintbrush. I'm just going to grab a little bit of my golden metallic, just a very little bit on the end of my palette knife, and using the edge, I'm going to pull that across on a diagonal for her halo. And that's how you make some abstract impasto art in Easy Angel textured wings. You could come in and add brown. You could add more depth to the wing. I'm going to let this dry, and then once it's dry, I'll see if I want to come back in and add some antiquing just to add some more depth and color to the wings. But as far as texture, look at that fun texture. When this dries, you will feel all of that beautiful texture and see it. If you enjoy this, please let me know below in the comment, and make sure that you follow the channel here for more art. I hope this inspired you today to just put away the fear and go create.